Hey y'all, my name is Martin Benson. Welcome back to our weekly guided meditation series. I'm super happy to be here with you once again. And for our meditation today, I wanted to first tell you a story to sort of prime our meditation practice for today. And this is an old Zen Buddhist story, and I hope you like it. So it starts with this monastery where there's a Zen abbot who's in charge of a bunch of monks. And there's whispers going around the monastery about this one particular monk who just seems to be sort of like causing some problems. He's complaining a lot. He's kind of negative. He's just always sort of sulking. And all the other monks are just kind of getting a little bothered by his attitude. And so they go to the abbot to be like, hey, can you help us? Like, you need to talk to so-and-so because they're just bringing us all down. They're bringing the vibe down, right? And so the abbot thinks to himself and agrees, and he goes, okay, so he calls him into his room, and he tells the young monk, he says, I want you to run to the kitchen, I want you to get a glass of water, and grab a big jar of salt. And so the young monk's like, okay. And so he goes to the kitchen, comes back, has a glass of water and the salt, and the abbot tells him, I want you to take a large handful of that salt, and I want you to put it in the glass of water, and then I want you to drink it. So the young monk kind of like questioningly looks at the abbot, but then says, okay. So he grabs the salt, large handful of salt, puts in the water, and then just chugs it down immediately, just spits the water all out, just has the grossest face. And the abbot's just kind of chuckling to himself. He goes, oh, okay, I see. All right. So now come with me. Let's go for a walk. And I want you to bring the jar of salt with you. So the abbot and the monk go for a walk around the monastery to one of the ponds nearby. And they go to the pond, and the abbot goes, now I want you to take that entire jar of salt, and I want you to pour it into the pond. So the young monk does that, and he goes, now I want you to drink from the pond. So the young monk bends down, sticks his face in the pond, starts drinking, and just gets water over his face, and gets up, and he kind of has a nice happy look on his face. And the abbot just chuckles a little bit to himself. He's like, tastes good, huh? He's like, yeah, tastes really good, really fresh. He's like, yeah, okay, well, take a seat. Come sit with me. And so they sit down, and the abbot goes on to tell him, he's like, listen, life has salt. It's pure salt, right? We're all given suffering. No more, no less. We all are given a certain amount of salt, a certain amount of suffering in our life, right? But the amount that we taste or experience depends on the vessel in which that suffering goes into. So the only thing to do when you're facing the suffering in your life is to expand your sense of things, to get bigger and broader, and to see perspective much wider than your own individual little circumstances causing you the suffering in this moment. And so the story kind of sums up to basically illustrate this quality of expansiveness that we can cultivate so that we don't get caught up in this story of poor little me, that we don't get caught up in this sort of tunnel vision in our lives where every negative thing that we experience or happen is sort of creating a sense of victimization. And it's getting us to sort of get bogged down ourselves and causes negativity and rumination and bitterness, right? And so one of these practices, in my experience, have helped me to do is to learn how to use my mind, the consciousness that I have, the awareness I have, to expand largely, to encompass all that's happening around me, right? To feel firsthand the interdependent nature between myself and the entirety of the universe. And at the same time, these practices help us, like a laser beam, focus deep into the minutia, into the sort of tiny particles of our life, too, to really be able to see clearly these two big perspectives. So in a way, this practice is sort of cultivating a telescopic mind and a microscopic mind. And to be able, almost like a zoom lens on a camera, to be able to zoom in and out between the tiny sort of molecular and quantum perspective, as small as you want to get, to the large, vast perspective of the whole universe. And this becomes a skill so that we can learn to penetrate an issue or an experience down to the minutia, down to the tiny particles, and points of it, and at the same moment be able to expand to see the bigger picture. So we go in and out, in and out. And it's this sort of telescoping in and out that I feel gives you a much more richer perspective of what is actually happening. And for me, that's become a tool for freedom so that I don't get caught up in sort of the rumination and the patterns of my own mind to be sort of wishing things away that they weren't the way they are. However, if you really look deeply at something and broadly at something, you can see that it's not what it is made out to be, right? That there's a bigger perspective that you're a part of. There's a bigger universe that you're connected to. And so in our practice today, I want us to sort of cultivate this quality of focusing really, really specifically on one point in the body, whether it's the breath and the point of where we feel the breath most prominently, and also be able to slowly extrapolate out from that sort of point of focus to feel our sense of bigness, this sort of large, expansive quality that we also embody, to feel our interconnectedness with the whole of life around us. Now, take this with a grain of salt. This is very subtle, right? It's not always going to be this big, explosive, psychedelic, grand experience. Sometimes it's just so subtle and so sweet. And the quieter we become, we might be able to really sense that subtle nature of our own connectivity with everything around us. And for me, this ability to telescope in and out has become a real refuge in my life so that I don't get caught up. And so I want us to work on that. And I'll guide you through that process. So go ahead and you can pause the video, take a comfortable seat. You can sit in a chair, place your feet firmly on the ground. Make sure you're not sitting back in the chair and leaning back. Wherever you are, be nice and upright. Or, as always, if it's more appropriate for you and your body today to lay on the ground, feel free to do so. But I recommend sitting up if you're able. And first, just establish your posture. So make sure you're nice and supported. You can kind of sway a little from side to side and front and back, and just find that sort of groundedness, this sort of center in your seat. And then you can close your eyes or keep them just softly open. And let the shoulders just relax away from your ears. Allow your jaw to unhinge, creating some space between the top and bottom row of teeth. And placing your tongue right behind the top row of teeth on the upper palate. Relaxing your cheekbones so that the skin on the face is delicate and light. And just feel your breathing. So you can focus your attention right around the navel and just feel your belly expand and contract with your breath. And allow your breath to move in its own natural rhythm. So there's no need to dictate the way you're breathing, but just sort of follow the natural inclination to inhale and the natural inclination to exhale. And just let the breath guide you here as you pay attention to the rising and falling of your belly. And with each exhalation, see if you can let go of some tension in the body. See if you can rest into your seat while still maintaining that uprightness. And like a laser beam, just focus all of your awareness right at the navel and just watch that area balloon open with the breath and settle back in and expand and contract, and just with all of your attention, watch that place in the body. Just breathing in and out, concentrating your awareness right at the navel. And remember, if you find yourself distracted by thoughts, the moment you notice you become distracted and drifted away from the navel, just so effortlessly and lovingly come back to that point. No matter how many times you drift away, just guide yourself back each and every time. Just breathing in and out, concentrating your awareness right at the navel. And every time you drift, you come back with even more focus, with even more concentration to anchor your awareness, watching the expansion and contraction of the belly with your breath. This is where we'll begin our practice, concentrating right there. Remember, as thoughts come up, to let go of judgment and to just slowly, once you notice, come back to our point of focus right at the navel. Continue to let go of tension in your body. Allowing yourself to be as relaxed as possible without slouching or slumping into your seat. Just simply continue watching the belly move in and out each round of breath. Focusing on this one small little area, all of your attention. see from here if you can get even more concentrated. Perhaps focus on an even smaller point of attention that you might even be able to feel right in the navel. How small of an area can you be aware of right in that area of the body? And then from here, very slowly and gradually, we're going to expand a little bit wider beyond the navel and just feel your whole belly open with the breath. Feel the whole abdomen as one unit. Expanding and contracting. We're going to begin very slowly telescoping out. And so from here, feeling the belly, see if you can expand to feel the whole torso, the chest, the heart, the stomach. And with each inhale, just fill that whole area up with breath and just feel the subtle movement in and out. So using our awareness to fill our entire torso, to feel whatever's arising. To feel the echoing of the breath, not only in the front of the torso, but also in the back. And then very gradually expand a little further to encompass the shoulders and the arms, as well as the thighs and the hips, right up to the top of the knees. And just rest your awareness in this point of the body where you feel from the top of the knees all the way up to the shoulders. Still watching the breath move in and out, but experiencing a wider range of sensation. Imagine you could feel every single cell in your body in this particular area. Perhaps notice the subtle vibration, the buzzing, tingling. Just allowing your mind to fill up the body from the shoulders down to the knees. continuing to let the breath move in its own natural rhythm. And then from here, allow your awareness to expand to an even broader area to encompass the head, the neck, all the way down to the feet. So as you breathe in and out, see if you can just get a sense of your entire body. See if you can explore using the mind to feel your whole body in this room that you're in. Really feel your presence and just rest there. Feeling your silhouette, the contours of the body. And just letting the breath continue to just flow naturally in and out as you become more and more restful, and at the same time more and more aware of a broader area from where we started. Expanding your awareness to fill your entire body. And then from here, see if you can expand a little further out beyond the body. Imagine a space about 6 inches away from the edges of your body. And as you delicately breathe, just see if you can get a sense of this area beyond the edges of the body, about 6 inches. And then slowly expand a little further from your body to feel the room that you're in. So as you inhale, see if you can feel the expansion to the corners of the room that you're seated in. And as you exhale, see if you can bring the awareness all the way back to the navel. And then inhale, expand to fill the room. And exhale, contract back to the navel. So your awareness moves in and out like a telescope, from the navel outward to the edges of the room, expanding and contracting with the rhythm of your own breath. Now from here, play with expanding even bigger, perhaps filling up your entire home, your street, your neighborhood. So each breath you expand wider and wider. And when you exhale, you return back to the navel. continue to expand further to fill the whole city that you're in. The entire country. So each breath you just get bigger and bigger and bigger. Taking in the whole world on your inhale, and on your exhale coming right back to the navel. And perhaps you move beyond even this planet into the cosmos. As each breath allows you to become bigger and bigger and bigger. So perhaps you may get a very subtle sense of your connectivity to every single thing that's around you. Not just what's close, but what's as far away as possible. To the infinite edge of space. Breathing in as you get bigger and bigger and bigger. And breathing out, coming back to home base, back to the navel. And just letting the breath guide you for the next few moments here. Very slowly begin to come back into the body, into the point of attention where we began, right at the navel. And just take a couple breaths right there, again concentrating in that very small area. And then from here you can begin making little movements, wiggling the toes, fluttering the eyes open. And take a deep inhale in, and exhale with a sigh. Thank you all so much for joining me today. I hope this was helpful for you, and I hope you explore this ability to expand your awareness and contract your awareness to be able to empower you to not get caught up in the poor little me story all the time, but to really get a sense for your interdependence with all of life, to really feel how big you actually are. Thank you so much. Have a great day.